Finally, we have a new trailer for the next Star Wars series coming out, Ahsoka, the official trailer, which with it has brought a lot of questions, a lot of content. This trailer is packed full of references to the Clone Wars, to Star Wars Rebels. We're seeing Thrawn for the first time properly, played by Lars Mikkelsen. We're seeing Ray Stevenson acting in his final role before his sad death. And also his character Baylan Skoll dropping references to Anakin Skywalker. And we're also getting hints of Vader's involvement. But is this series actually going to deliver? Is it going to be way too much fan service? The Dave Filoni way? Is it going to make up for the somewhat disappointing Season 3 of The Mandalorian?
I love you.
Let's find out. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. The hype is really building for Ahsoka. For a little while, it's felt like Star Wars has been a little bit dead, especially after Mando Season 3 was a bit disappointing, considering how good the first 2 seasons were. And also after Jedi Survivor, it seems like people are just a bit sick of Star Wars. But it looks like this series is going to change that. The hype is real. I can feel it in my bones. Now, someone said that they can actually hear Darth Vader breathing in the trailer. I couldn't find it. Maybe you guys have found it. Maybe your ears are better than mine.
Anakin spoke highly of you.
But what I think is so interesting is that Baylan Skoll knew Anakin back in the Jedi Order on Coruscant. We know that Baylan was a former Jedi who survived Order 66, survived the Jedi Purge, and has now become a mercenary. He's not necessarily a bad guy, even though the series is pitching him to be such, and we know for sure he's not a Sith Lord. He's seemingly searching for Thrawn to create a new beginning for the galaxy. But to do that, he believes, along with his apprentice Shin Hati, that they must first destroy and kill and create war. The orange-red lightsabers that both Baylan and Shin are wielding are supposed to indicate that they are dark Jedi, but I think have also been written and included in the series to make you confused about Ahsoka Tano's motives and where she's at. Baylan in this trailer says something so similar to what Ahsoka says. He says,
We are no Jedi.
which is something you remember Ahsoka also says to Vader.
I am no Jedi.
Definitely the coolest moment in all of Star Wars Rebels. Vader fighting Ahsoka, Master versus Apprentice. I know a lot of people are hoping we're going to get another duel between Ahsoka and Vader in this series. It seems likely. Hayden Christensen's involvement in the series has been hinted at. He's kind of darted around the idea, not saying yes, not saying no, just being like, oh,
Future Star Wars.
And nice to meet you, Sky Guy.
And there's also no indication that Ahsoka is just going to be one season. A little while ago, in some internal report or listing or document, the way the Ahsoka episodes were listed seemed to indicate that this is season 1 of potentially 2, 3, maybe more. So if we do in fact get Ahsoka versus Vader, it might not even be in this season. It could be down the track. And we know all of these series are leading up to the giant Dave Filoni movie starring the cast of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, the Ahsoka series, Rangers of the New Republic if that ever goes ahead, and whatever else is going on at this time in the galaxy. I guess Skeleton Crew has to be involved as well in some way, knowing some characters cross over from that show, and it's also from the same time period as this. Everything's happening at once. I like that Disney are just filling this one time period of Star Wars all together at once. They're like, we want to bridge the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and a huge part of that seemingly going to involve Ezra Bridger. See what I did there? So cool seeing his involvement in this trailer and seeing him actually talk for the first time. We don't have Thrawn talking yet, which is kind of disappointing because Dave Filoni's described Lars Mikkelsen's performance as really scary, something frightening, something dark, sinister. Hopefully we're going to get a Thrawn that's very close to what we had in Heir to the Empire, a dark, cunning, sinister characterization of Thrawn. But Ezra's involvement in this trailer was quite interesting because it's a parallel with Star Wars Rebels. Sabine watching this hologram seems to be what inspires her to go out with Ahsoka Tano, recommence her training, assist in the fight against Thrawn, and also look for Ezra Bridger. In the same way that Ahsoka and Ezra watching Anakin's hologram in Star Wars Rebels inspired them.
Practice these exercises mindfully, and you'll see improvement. I promise.
Really wise moment there. There's also an intentional direct parallel between Sabine cutting her hair, just in the same way that Kanan cut his hair. It's symbolic of a new chapter in their lives, a transformative moment, where they're about to embark on a journey. Now with that said, there's also a lot of discussion around whether Sabine is even Force sensitive. As she's dueling Shin Hati in this trailer, Shin says,
You have no power.
which seems to indicate she isn't Force sensitive. However, with that said, we know she's had lightsaber training before, we know she used to wield the Darksaber, and is now being trained by Ahsoka Tano, which I think is also super interesting, seeing as though Ahsoka has decided to take on an apprentice that isn't Force sensitive. Something Jedi
I am no Jedi.
I know she's not a Jedi, other Force sensitives don't tend to do. Really rub it in the I am no Jedi thing. We know, Ahsoka, we know.
I am no Jedi.
Alright, fine, you're not a Jedi. Even though the arc of this series is seemingly you also becoming a Jedi and becoming reacquainted with your Jedi roots. That's a guess. Now, I think we also need to compare Sabine and Grogu. Sabine is a Mandalorian who is seemingly becoming a Jedi or learning the Jedi arts, the Jedi way, even though she's not Force sensitive. Grogu, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. He was a Jedi Padawan, who is now becoming immersed in Mandalorian culture and is a Mandalorian. At some point down the track, whether that's in the Dave Filoni film or before that, the two are likely going to meet and it's going to be a big moment for both of them. A very symbolic moment of the journeys they've been on coming together at this point and both being able to share elements of their culture and training. Also, I just think it'd be cool for these characters to meet. I mean, anyone meeting Grogu is going to be amazing, let's be real. So we know Baylan Skoll was formerly a Jedi Knight, but does this mean Shin Hati was a Padawan or a youngling perhaps? It's possible that she too was from the Jedi Order and perhaps Baylan rescued her around the time of Order 66, fled the temple with her, and they've both learned the dark side of the Force. However, she could also be a Force sensitive he picked up later on. Hopefully their backstory gets explained, but it's going to be interesting what happens to Baylan as well, considering the sad news that Ray Stevenson passed away. So if the writers had future plans for this character continuing into a potential season 2 or even later on, they would need to consider a total rewrite or a recast or just not including him at all, which is quite sad. He seems like a compelling character, and the performance is already compelling just watching the trailers. I think we also need to just mention Mon Mothma's involvement in the Ahsoka series, because it's pivotal to what happens later in the galaxy. It's possible that Mon Mothma is indirectly responsible for the rise to power of the First Order, and also the fall of the New Republic. She's seemingly denying Hera Syndulla help here. Hera seems to be pleading with the New Republic to create an army, or at least some form of protective force that can deal with the rising threat of the First Order, the rise of Thrawn's army, and whatever else is happening in the background. And Mon Mothma is seemingly denying this. We know in Star Wars Legends that this is also part of what led to the rise of Thrawn and the rise to power of Imperial remnants following the fall of the Empire. It was partly the New Republic's lack of security. After the galaxy had been in war for so many years throughout the Clone Wars and then the Galactic Civil War, the galaxy was over it. They didn't want any more war, so almost relaxed too much after having defeated the Empire, which is part of why these dark forces were once again able to reclaim power. So it looks like we're going to be seeing that as an additional side plot or story arc, affecting the overall narrative of the galaxy. There's also a lot of speculation that this location here is Malachor. Malachor is the location of Ahsoka and Vader's duel from the end of Season 2 Rebels. So it seems likely they would return here. We know the planet is strong in the dark side and that there's a Sith temple here. I'm not really sure how it relates to Thrawn just yet, but we did also get more looks at the new Inquisitor in this trailer, who people are still speculating could be a bunch of characters. Perhaps it's Ezra Bridger, perhaps it's Barriss Offee, perhaps it's a new character altogether. We're not entirely sure. It's definitely not the Eighth Brother, though, I'm pretty sure. Wrong amount of fingers or something. 3 like this, and then a thumb. Also, I can't believe the detail to which they've recreated the mural from Star Wars Rebels here. It looks stunning. And another cool detail, David Tennant is returning as Huyang, the Jedi droid. He's not a Jedi himself. He teaches younglings and knows a lot of stuff about lightsabers and things.
I wondered where I'd put that.
Pretty cool. Now, on August 23rd, when the series releases, we're actually getting 2 episodes, which, if I'm being honest, has me a little bit worried. I've seen people speculate that the reason they're releasing 2 episodes on the first day is so that the final episode of Ahsoka doesn't overlap with the launch of Season 2 of Loki, which releases just a few days later. But if that were the case, why would they not just start releasing Ahsoka a week earlier? To me, this could mean that the first episode itself isn't that interesting or not enough happens. Perhaps it's too much of a setup episode, and so they decided to do 2 on the same day to give us more action and progress the story a lot further. That said though, there's only 8 episodes, so I'm really hoping this delivers. The other thing that has me concerned is this too much fan service? We know Dave Filoni's projects can go down this route sometimes. How many other cameos and references are we going to have in this show, and how original is it actually going to be? Part of the reason I'm so excited for these new dark side characters, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, is because they seem original and new and like something really fresh and also complex. They clearly have mixed motives around why they're doing what they're doing. Also, can't wait to see the return of Thrawn, and I really like that they're drip feeding his involvement in this, only showing his face at this point. I'm pretty sure this is the first look we've had at his face officially anyway that wasn't leaked, and we still don't have any actual dialogue from him. It's really building the mystery and the suspense around his character, the gravitas of the moment where he's finally revealed, finally talks, and is finally fully involved in the show. Really looking forward to seeing that, and I really like the way they're handling that. But that said, I'm just really worried this is going to be another one of those shows that leans lean so heavily into the fan service, especially considering it's a continuation of what happened in the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. I really hope that they don't have to tie it into everything else. I hope it can just kind of exist as its own thing, and we can tie it into the stuff later on. Let's go deeper into these characters. Let's look at who these dark side characters are. Let's look at Ahsoka and who she is and where she's come from, and, you know, have the references to Anakin and everything, but make her journey her own. But with all that said, it's cool to see the hype building for Ahsoka, and I'm very excited about the show. What are your thoughts about this? Did you enjoy the trailer? Let me know in the comments. Also, I post news about Ahsoka pretty frequently on my Clips channel. Come check that out if you want more updates, and also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, join my Discord and TikTok for more, and thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.